Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of College Hockey Talk. On today's podcast, I'm joined by a very special guest. Sophomore from the Minnesota State women's hockey team, Sydney Langseth, joins the show today. Welcome to the podcast, Sydney. Thank you so much for coming back on, and how's everything going?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Everything's been going good so far. It's been a good start to the season, but yeah, it's been awesome.
Now, just in general, how's everything going for you? You're about to wrap up the first half of the season. So looking back on the first half of the season, how would you evaluate your team's performance and your performance individually?
We had a strong start to the season. We had a bit of a winning streak going on, and then I would say we had to face some adversity. But since then, we've gotten back up, and we're on a winning streak again. So it's been great.
Now, your team has improved significantly record-wise compared to last season. So what are some things that your team has done differently this year to make the improvements from last season to this season?
I would say our mental game has been a huge part of that. Just coming to the rink every day, prepared, ready to work hard, have high speed practices, but also just how we think about our competition and knowing where we stand with them and just knowing that we can play with any team in our league and just having that confidence.
Now, just talk about your freshman class this year as well, because one thing we talked about last podcast when you were with Eden Prairie was kind of the leadership you wanted to bring to the younger players. Now, as a sophomore, is there any type of leadership you're trying to bring to the team, and how would you evaluate your leadership skills so far, if there is any?
Yeah, I think everyone on the team kind of knows their role. Everyone plays a different part. Personally, I've been trying to be a little bit more vocal this year. I love our freshman class. They've been fitting in very well. We were fortunate to have summer training this year, unlike last year because of COVID. So that was nice, bringing them onto the team, just getting to know them before the season started. So I think they're fitting in great. And yeah, I love our freshman class. They're a lot of fun.
Is it hard to is it for you kind of like you're in your freshman year as well, just because this season's a little bit different compared to last year, and you also don't have to deal with as many restrictions as last year as well. So you're starting to kind of get used to everything and a little bit different, because I'm assuming you're going back to class in person this year as well.
Yeah, it's definitely different. I would say this year feels like my first real college experience on and off the ice. But us sophomores now, we definitely tell the freshmen this year, nope, we're sophomores. Like, you guys are the freshmen, even though sometimes we do feel like freshmen.
Now, this season, one of my favorite games to watch from your team was when you beat Minnesota Duluth, who was the 7th-ranked team at the time. Just talk about that game from your perspective, and what did you take away from it, and how did you try to use that win as momentum heading in, going through the first half of the season?
Yeah, that game was a lot of fun. Our team collectively, we all played really well. Everyone, they played their role. They knew what to do. We played 3 solid periods of hockey. It was a lot of fun. The emotions were high after the game. After that, we just knew we can play with any team in our league. We just have to be confident. Like, we can't come into games cocky, but we need to have confidence.
Now, you also get to play non-conference games this season as well, which is something you're not used to because you didn't play any non-conference games last season. So what's it been like to play non-conference? And have you noticed any differences in style of play between the WCHA versus other teams in different conferences?
It's been a lot of fun to play non-conference games, just a new experience in college, I guess, from last year. But overall, the style of play isn't much different. I would say playing in the WCHA is the most competitive, or not competitive necessarily, but just aggressive, like high speed. So I wouldn't say the style of play is much different, like going out east, for example. But it's been a lot of fun to play those teams.
Yeah, one of those non-conference series that you had was against Merrimack. First of all, how cool was it to go out east? Have you ever been out here before, and what was that experience like off the ice?
Oh, yeah, it was a lot of fun. I have been out east before for a few tournaments before college hockey, but off the ice, it was really cool just to get out of Minnesota in general. But that was a fun series to play, opening the season. So it was important for us to come into it with a lot of energy and just excitement. And I think we did just that. And it was awesome to leave with the sweep.
Yeah, how important was that sweep to start off the season and to also build confidence for your team heading into some conference games in the first half?
Yeah, I think it was huge for us. I mean, you always want to start the season off with a win. So it was a lot of fun. And like I said, the emotions were high after, but it was important for us to just come together as a team. And having that first win, it felt really good.
Now, your team was also on a 4-game winning streak before heading into the Bemidji State Series. So, what has been the key, I guess, for your team's consistency during this winning streak? And what's that been like, trying to keep that momentum of keep winning games and not kind of like looking at the past, but kind of thinking about the present?
Yeah, I think a huge thing that our coach has just been talking about is game by game, period by period, not getting ahead of ourselves. That's just been huge for us. And I think we've been doing just that, like what he's been preaching. And I think it's been working. I mean, coming to the rink every day, just having good energy and high level of competitiveness, it's been great.
Now, what's it like playing with fans this year? That must be fun for yourself.
Yeah, that's been really fun. Um, we get more fans at certain arenas than others, of course. But a huge thing is honestly just getting family and friends there and just being able to talk to them after games. I think last year you didn't realize how important that was or how fun it was to see them after games and just share that with them because we didn't get that last year. So never going to take that for granted again because I know how it is to not have that. So it's been really nice to have that this year.
Now, did your family get to see you play in person for college hockey for the first time this year, or did they get to have that experience last year? Because I know some schools let family go to some games.
Yeah, they actually did get to see me last year, so that was nice. They didn't get to hang around after like they do this year, but they did get to see me.
That's good. That's good. And do you think it's nice to have that comfort level with family there? Because that's something that I've noticed when I played at least was whenever I had family members I guess, in the crowd, it made me feel more comfortable playing just because I know I had that support system in the rink.
Yeah, I think it's huge. It's so nice and just like you said, having the support system, it's great.
Now, what are your goals and expectations for the second half of the season? I know you technically haven't finished it yet. You have a series coming up this weekend, but by the time this gets released, it will be the second half of the season for your team. So, what are your goals and expectations for the team and for yourself?
For myself, I would say just keep producing. That's always a goal, put numbers on the board. But of course, as a team, we want to win. I think it's going to be important for us to get some hard wins out of the way so then we can be satisfied with our like post ranking, and get a good seed there. So that'll be important for us.
Yeah, no, the postseason, obviously everyone makes it this year now compared to last year where only the top 4 teams made it. So, especially for this series coming up against Bemidji State, there's a lot of important points on the line. What's it going to take to get some of these points on the road? Because I feel like that's a little more challenging than playing a home game.
Yeah, I would say staying focused is a huge thing for us. Coming into it, ready to play. I know it can be easy to kind of get off track, maybe distracted because break is right after the series. But for our team, it's just going to be important to, it's a business game. We need to come in and do what we do best and play as a team. It's going to be a gritty game, but it's going to be an important game.
And do you think you're going to try to use that to your advantage? Because maybe, I don't know, some players from the other team might be thinking about breaks, so you might want to take advantage of that from your team's perspective as well.
Yeah, I would say so for sure. If our team can be more focused, I mean, we will take that. Yeah.
Now, what's the biggest improvement you've made to your game this year?
I would say using my size a little more to my advantage, being confident with that, just being aggressive away from the puck and on the puck, as well as my separation speed away from the puck. I think those are key things for me.
Was that something you worked on this off season?
Yeah, for sure. I think being in the weight room and then just training on the ice, they go hand in hand.
Now, did you have any challenges preparing during the off season? Just because obviously restrictions were a little bit less than the previous off season, but I know that in certain areas, some rinks and some gyms were still hard to find.
It wasn't too tough for us. Luckily, we were able to use our facility here in Mankato for summer training, and then before the season started, our facilities were open. So, luckily, no difficulties there.
And how do you try to work on separation from the puck? Like, what kind of drills do you do to improve that area of your game?
I would say just some skating drills. I mean, they're not fun, I'll tell you that much, but they are important. Just working on the first three steps, and that's really important. Working on my speed for that instead of winning the races all the way down the ice, just winning the quick foot races that are maybe like 3 to 6 feet long.
Now, one game in particular that I want to talk about where you played fantastic was against Lindenwood, where you got 2 goals in that game. Just talk about that game and getting those 2 goals, and just how is that for yourself? How did that feel for your confidence and just in general for that whole game?
Yeah, that was a really fun game. Non-conference, it's always fun. It was a little close in the end. We were winning by a good amount, but then we kind of let them back in the door, and we were down by one. So at the end of the game, Brooke Bryant gave me a great backdoor pass, and fortunately, we took the game into overtime. And at that point, we did what we had to do to win. And it was a great win. I mean, close for comfort, but we did what we had to do. So a win's a win.
Yeah, wasn't it like 14 goals were scored in that game or something like that?
Yeah, it was a high scoring game, and we were winning by a good amount. And I don't know exactly what happened, but
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, and has that like the highest scoring game you've ever been a part of?
Um, I would say for both teams scoring goals, yes, in college hockey. Yeah.
Hmm. But there's been a game where your team scored like 11, 12 goals in like high school or whatever. That's pretty
Um,
cool.
yeah, high school, yeah, I would say so. Some blowout games maybe.
Hey, Noah, if it's they're still fun to play, unless you're getting blown out, obviously. But like, it's still fun to
Yeah.
get like 2 goals and like win 12-0. That it's just I love those good feel good games. I think it's important to have every season just because it helps bring momentum for tougher games in the schedule as the season goes on.
Right. Always fun to score, fun to win.
Now, when you look like back in the second half of the season, I don't know how far you look down the schedule, but is there any particular series you're looking forward to play for the second half of the season? Obviously, with fans and stuff like that, is there like a arena that you're looking forward to play in or something like that?
I would say Hockey Day, Minnesota. I'm really excited for that. It's going to be in Mankato. We play St. Thomas. So I'm looking forward to that game. But behind that game, I would say going to Duluth just because I haven't played at that arena because last year when we played them, I had COVID. So I'm looking forward to playing at the arena for the first time.
That's cool. That's cool. How are you feeling after that?
Oh, I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
Better. Yeah.
Because it seems like I don't know if you follow the NHL, but it seems like there's been a lot of like COVID issues. Are you worried about that for the second half of the season? I know it's a little bit different this year, but I feel like for me it's still in the back of my head because I just don't want games being canceled.
Yeah, it's always in the back of the head, I would say, but just trying not to focus on it. I mean, being smart about it, obviously, but not letting that affect how we play, I guess.
Hmm. Now, for the Hockey Day in Minnesota, do they do that every year? Because I know the Winter Classics, and I think where the Twins play. I'm not sure what the arena is called, but is that every year, or is it just like a special thing for this year since the Winter Classics in Minnesota?
Hockey in Minnesota is every year, just not always in Mankato, so that's special.
Hmm. Where is it going to be played in Mankato?
It's going to be at our football stadium.
Oh, that's really cool. And it's not just your
Hmm.
team that plays; it's like the men's team and some high school teams as well, if I'm correct.
Yep.
So are you going to try to go to some of those games, or is it really just you're going to play in your game and then, just enjoy that experience as a whole?
I would say it depends on our schedule. I know we play on Sunday, so and the guys I think play on Saturday, so we'll have to see just how our schedule works out. It'd be fun to go and visit and kind of enjoy it away from being on the ice, but if we don't get that opportunity, that'll be okay too.
Have you ever played in an outdoor game before?
No, I haven't, so I'm really excited. I always wanted to do that in high school, so to do it in college is even better.
Now, is there going to be different preparation for that game compared to other ones? Just because it's probably going to be freezing cold, I would assume. Bench warmers. Like, what kind of stuff are you preparing for that you wouldn't normally prepare for in a normal regular season game inside?
I think it'd be a little bit harder to breathe probably. So we'll have to manage that somehow. But honestly, just coming into it like any other game will be important. Just knowing that, yes, it's fun to play outside. Like, this is a cool experience, but this is a game. Like, we have to treat it like a normal game.
Hmm.
But other than that, haven't looked too far into it yet, but it'll be a lot of fun.
Now, you're playing St. Thomas in that game. I know you've played them before. What's it like to have a new team in your conference, and what's it been like playing them this year? How's their rink looking from your perspective?
Yeah, it was really fun to play them. Just playing another new team. My high school goalie, Alexa Dobchuk, was out there too. So that was really cool to get to play her in a college setting. Their rink is pretty nice. I don't know, it was a fun game to be a part of. I think it'll be a good game against them on hockey day, and we'll just have to go from there.
That's awesome. Is that the first time you've played a high school teammate before in college?
Um, oh geez, trying to think. No, it's not, because I got to play Crystal and Hengler last year on the Gophers.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, no, is it fun playing those old high school players that you used to play with?
Yeah, it's so much fun, kind of chirping each other out there, but just having a good time. It's really fun.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, especially with Eden Prairie, just because I did for doing research for your podcast last year. There was a ton of players from Eden Prairie that play college hockey here in the East Coast. I know, for example, Grace Kuiper, she plays for Princeton, and she's one of the best freshmen in the ECAC. So that must be fun for you to see, not just from your conference, but from other conferences as well.
Yeah, it's awesome seeing her success. I mean, you always want that for like your former teammates, and it's great seeing other teammates out there. I know Carrie Burns is at Penn State, or Claire Kuiper, St. Anselm. Everyone's kind of scattered, so it's cool to see how everyone's doing.
Yeah, no, Clara Kuipers is also playing well. So that must have been cool. When they were in high, did they play in the same line in high school, or they didn't?
No, actually, Claire Kuiper's was defense and Grace was forward.
Okay, that's kind of cool. But did they get to play in the same I guess together on the ice together? I assume.
Yes, yes, they did.
That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. So I guess something I didn't ask you on the last podcast was what's it like to play in the WCHA? And has it been different playing in the WCHA this year, just with kind of like a normalcy schedule versus last year where those things were kind of fluctuating a little bit?
Yeah, playing in the WCHA is great. I mean, it's every game's competitive. You know it's going to be a high-paced game. It's going to be very aggressive. You can just expect that before. Playing this year compared to last year, I would say it's similar, but for some reason it is a little different just because you are playing non-conference games in between those really high-paced games. Not saying that those other ones aren't, but just that the WCHA is a great conference to be a part of, and you know what to expect.
Now, what's the biggest thing you've learned about yourself as a hockey player for your sophomore season?
I would say it's important to stick to your strengths. Of course, you always want to work on what you need to work on, your weaknesses, get better at that. But just learning how important it is when you're in games and higher level games or in the end, like playoffs, for instance, stick to what you're good at, stick to what you know. I think being my second year, I've learned that that's a really important part of the game is just stick to what you're good at and control those controllables.
So we're now in the segment I like to call the non-hockey segment, where I ask you some non-hockey questions just to get to know you a little bit more off the ice. Now, this non-hockey segment's a bit different than last time, just because I just found random questions on the internet. So I'm interested to see what you think about some of these questions that I found. So, first one, this is kind of a hockey-related question, but what were your thoughts on Trevor Zigus' Michigan assist that he had a few weeks ago?
Yeah, that assist was unreal. I mean, that video got sent in our team group chat right away. And the next day at practice, everyone was trying to do that move. And yeah, it was an unreal assist.
Is that the best assist you've ever seen before?
I feel like yes,
Hmm.
it was pretty good. I mean, hard to beat that.
Oh yeah, I think Sonny Milano doesn't get enough credit to have the hand-eye coordination to bat in the net as well. That's another thing that people aren't talking about.
Yeah, for sure. He deserves credit as well.
Have you tried the Michigan before in a game or during practice, and has it been successful?
Um, I've never tried in a game. I've tried at practice. Let's just say it's still in the workshop.
Just a few more practices. If you keep trying out, maybe we'll see it in a game. That's my hope. I can predict it right now. That's all I can say. Junior year. That's my prediction.
Junior year.
Yeah, second half of junior year. So gives it like a year to kind of work on it a little bit.
All right, sweet. I have some time.
Could you like with this, is the assist harder than like the actual Michigan goal? Because I feel like it is, just because you have to like one, have the time and space to like do that, but also like be super accurate with the pass.
Yeah, I would say the assist is pretty difficult. I mean, they both are, but just having that heads up play and just knowing you have time to even do that and place it where you want it to be placed for the other guy, it takes a lot of skill.
Yeah, his reaction to it was pretty awesome. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, the celebration.
Yeah, where he's
Yeah.
just like shocked. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now, next non-hockey question is, which arena has the best warm-up mix?
I think I have to go with Ohio State. I think I said them last time, but pretty solid.
Nice. And I kind of want to ask you about the Ohio State series, just because did you have to dress like a emergency goalie for that series?
Yes, we did. Her name's Avery Stowell. She's on the tennis team here at Mankato. So all three of our goalies, I don't think anyone could have predicted all three of them being injured. So that was kind of a part of the adversity our team had to face. So that was crazy. I mean, it was huge of her to step up and suit up for us and travel to Ohio, one of the best teams in the country right now. But I mean, we put everything on the line for her, and she really stepped up and put everything on the line for us. I think she stopped 45 pucks like Friday's game. It was unreal.
And how did you decide who was going to be that like emergency goalie? Because obviously this situation probably came up unexpectedly quickly.
Yeah, it was very unexpected because we played St. Cloud, and that was when our first string goalie, Cal Frank, got injured. So we had a little bit of time to figure it out, but I mean, not a lot. To search into the student body clearly and just see who's played goalie in the past, if there's anyone that's played goalie, like high school. And she did play high school hockey, which was really cool. But yeah, it was crazy. I mean, no one could have seen that coming.
Would they have like, if they couldn't find anyone, would they have like had a player dressed as a goalie for that game? I would assume.
I think that would be the next option. Yeah.
Yeah. Could you play goalie or no?
I would not want to be the one to step in. I don't think they would want me in there if I'm being honest.
Who would
For
be
the good of the team.
who would you think would be like the best goalie on the team who isn't a goalie, like a player?
Um, maybe Jess Condas
Hmm.
this year. Yeah.
That's cool that she stepped up in that game. That's obviously playing the number two ranked team in the country. That's not easy. So that's pretty cool. And that's got to be a cool moment for her to play college hockey for a weekend series. That's like everyone's dream.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, she really stepped up, and her family was there cheering her on, which was really cool. But yeah, she did it unreal. It's really nice to have her.
Now, does she get to be on the team, I guess, for the rest of the season since she played those two games, or like only for that series?
Well, she's still practicing with us right now, actually.
Oh, that's
I
cool.
believe we have her until I think this last series against Bemidji is the last one. So it's just like the end of first semester.
That's cool. That's cool. That's cool that she gets to do that. So who's is Cal Frank back? I assume from playing. I know that she won an award for the WCHA this past week.
Yeah, yep, she's back. She played last weekend.
That's awesome. Well, kind of getting on the sidetrack of teammates, but who is the quietest on the Mankato women's hockey team?
I'd have to say Cala Frank.
Who's the loudest on the team?
Oh, for sure, Danny England.
What is your guilty pleasure song?
Um, oh, that's a tough one. Maybe I Think I'm Okay, Machine Gun Kelly.
I've actually never heard that one before. So I've heard the Bloody Valentine song he did, the music video with Megan Fox. That was a good song in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, that one's good too.
I think for my guilty pleasure song, I would probably choose Boyfriend by Big Time Rush. That's a really good song.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to say so too.
I will tell you what, if that's a good, like, I don't know if what your team's like victory song is, but that's a good victory song just because that just brings up nothing but good vibes in my opinion. So just a suggestion.
Okay, I'll have to bring it back to the team and see what they think.
Speaking of the music thing, but who controls the aux for the team?
Typically it's Brooke Bryant or Danny England.
What kind of songs do they play?
We listen to a lot of kind of rock songs, which is surprising, but it really gets the team going. And then there's obviously rap in there, but we have some interesting songs that are kind of superstitious for us. So if other people were to hear them, I think they would be like, "Oh, what are you guys doing?" or something like that. But it gets us going, so that's all that matters.
Yeah, totally, totally. Now, I guess we're going on some of the weirder non-hockey questions, but if there was a movie made about your life, who would you want to play yourself in that movie and why?
Oh, that's a good question. Um, Possibly Blake Lively. I like her as an actress, as a person. So I don't know, maybe her.
That's a good answer. Yeah. How can you tell if someone has a good sense of humor? That's a good non-hockey question I found.
um, I think if someone can take my sarcasm and maybe dish it back, I feel like that's a good indicator if they have a good sense of humor.
Yeah, for me it's kind of like it's you can't really explain it. It's kind of like if you have a good vibe with someone, like just dishing out jokes and just I don't know if that makes any sense. That's kind of how I tell.
Yeah, for sure.
What is the craziest dream you've ever had?
I would say my dreams are more realistic than crazy, but like if I had to pick one, um, one time my dog was in my dorm room, like this was last year, and she like lived with me in my dorm. And that's not very crazy, but I don't know. I must have been missing my dogs.
Mhm.
I don't know.
That'd be cool to have your dog live with you for a weekend. I don't know, like that must. I don't
Yeah.
know if the room would probably be too small though. That's the only thing.
Yeah, it probably wouldn't be the best idea.
Yeah, it is what it is though. But I guess last non-hockey question is what what like since what concert would you want to see that you've never seen before? That's it.
Oh, that's a good one. Um, Geez, I'm blanking here. um, Maybe like some country song. I went to a concert this summer, Country Jam, which was a lot of fun. But maybe like Morgan Wallen or something like that.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I heard he was like one of the most listened to people on Spotify this year.
Yeah, so it'd be fun to go to one of his concerts maybe.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool. What artists played at that country festival?
John Hardy was there. There was some like newer artists that I didn't know exactly. Morgan Wallen was supposed to be there, but something happened and he wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
So I think John Hardy was kind of like the main headliner.
Oh, okay. I've never heard of him before, to be honest with you, but I guess I gotta check his music out. I'm not really the biggest country fan, but I know like some of the top country artists, if that makes sense. I'm kind of a casual fan.
Yeah, yeah, he's pretty good if you want to check him out.
Awesome. I definitely will. Well, back to some hockey questions now and some podcast questions. But what were your thoughts on the podcast since we last had you on? It's been exactly a year, I'm pretty sure. So, what were your thoughts? I don't know if you had the chance to listen to the interview, but what were your thoughts on all of it?
I mean, it's great. I think just seeing how much it's grown since the last time I've been on has been awesome to see. But all the questions, I love all the questions in on hockey segment.
Mhm.
That's fun. But yeah, it's great.
Awesome. I appreciate the kind words. It means a lot to myself. Now, is there any guests that we should have on in the future, whether it's from your team or from, I guess, teams you used to play on as well?
I think you might have to check out my line mates, Maddie Mashuga, Claire Buderak. I think they'd
Hmm.
be fun to have on.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely got to reach out to those people. I'm trying to think who I've had on from Minnesota State before besides yourself. I can't think of it from the top of my head. I think I had Kelsey King. I had her on. That's like the only player from your team that I've had on the podcast. So, yeah, definitely got to get some more Mankato players on the show.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, is there anything like you want to talk about now? The floor is all yours. Normally, actually, before we get to that, is there any shout outs you want to give? And then we'll just go to that next question. But any shout outs to any of your family members, friends, teammates, former teammates, current teammates, potentially future teammates? I'm not sure.
Um, I'll give a shout out to brother, you know, a huge fan. He's always supporting me. I'll give a shout out to my line mates, like I said, Maddie Mashuga, Claire Buderak, and Ack on my team. She's at D, Charlotte Ackervick.
Awesome. We'll shout out to them. And is there anything you want to talk about now? The floor is all yours. Anything you want to plug in or just talk about? Feel free to do it now, I guess. This is your podcast, so you can say whatever you want pretty much.
Oh, geez, that's a lot of sure. um, I don't know. I mean, just highlighting how cool this podcast is. I think you've done a great job just getting a numerous amount of players, and from the men's side and women's side. I think that's great. And all the content that you bring on Instagram, it's fun to follow.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate the kind words. It really does mean a lot to me. I'm not the most creative person, but I try to like spontaneously come up with ideas and see how it works. So I'm glad you enjoyed it. It means a lot to myself.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun to be part of.
Well, thank you so much, Sydney, for coming on the podcast. I truly do appreciate it. I wish you nothing but the best for the second half of the season. And hopefully after the season's done, we can have you back on the podcast for a third time.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you so much.
No problem. Take care. Now, one thing we do, I feel